everybody. I know the library is closed today, so I'm doing something I don't usually get to do. I get to do some programming rather than just work the front desk, and it's super exciting. I've wanted to do this for a long time. So thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be bringing you one of my holiday favorite recipes. It is almost Christmas time, so I hope this gets you inspired to get in the kitchen and have a little fun. Today we're going to be making something that gets a really bad reputation, and that's really sad, and that's fruitcake. Now this is going to be a white fruitcake. There's a white fruitcake and there's a dark fruitcake. This one is the white. This one is not rum soaked. There's no whiskey, there's no brandy, no alcohol, anything like that. It's a little more cakey, but it's still full of the candied fruit and nuts. This is called a Christmas apricot walnut fruitcake. And it's really simple to make. It takes a little bit of planning for a couple of the steps, but by and large goes together really quickly, and it's really simple. So I definitely hope that you try it. So let's get started. The first thing that you will need, well, let's go through the ingredients. I will post the recipe in the comments when we're done, so I'm not going to give you specific amounts now. That'll be in the comments in a little bit. You'll need water, raisins, dried apricots, sugar, salted butter, cream cheese, eggs, vanilla, baking powder, flour, the candied fruit, you know, that we know and love from fruitcake, and chopped walnuts. Now, for the candied fruit, you can go a couple different routes, okay? You can use these wonderful, can you see that? There we go. These wonderful red and green cherries. Okay, they come in little tubs like this. I'm sure you've seen these in the grocery store. This one's pineapple, and you'll need this too. These, as you'll see, they're kind of in big chunks. You don't want that in your fruitcake. This needs to be chopped, okay? If you don't want to mess with that, because that's a big sticky mess, if you don't want to mess with that, we have fruitcake mix, okay? This has the candied peel, the cherries, the pineapple, everything you need in here. It's pre-chopped. Looks like this, okay? It's a lot easier to deal with than chopping those cherries yourself. You can go either way. I kind of like to do this. It's a lot easier, but that's up to you, okay? All right, so let's get started. This is super simple. The first thing that you need to do is measure out 1.5 cups of raisins, 2.5 cups of water, and 1/4 cup of sugar. And what you do with that is you put it in a small saucepan on the stove, and you let it simmer for 30 minutes. What you're doing is rehydrating the fruit. Okay, you don't want to put that fruit in your fruitcake dry. And that looks like this. I've already done that. I've already cooked this down. Okay, and this has cooled. It's very important that you cool this before you put it in the rest of your fruitcake. Otherwise, it's going to cook the eggs, and yeah, it's not anything you want to eat. So the first thing you do is your raisins, dried apricots, sugar, and water. Cook it for 30 minutes. Cool it off. Okay? When that's done, you'll want to preheat your oven to 325. Mine is already going and hot. The next thing you'll do is cream 1 cup or 2 sticks of salted butter. I'm lucky enough to have a stand mixer. It makes this so much easier. If you have one, use it, and if not, that's okay. This can be done by hand or with a hand mixer. Not a problem. Okay, so 2 sticks of butter, 1/2 cup of cream cheese, that's half a package, and then we need 1 cup of sugar. Okay, we're going to dump all that in, and can you see that? Can you see my handy dandy mixer? There he is. Okay, raise the bowl, And then you're going to turn this on slow. Never turn a stand mixer up to the top speed to begin with. Things will fly everywhere. Nobody wants to clean that up. Don't do that. So turn it on slow. Let this cream for just a couple minutes. It doesn't take long. Okay, I'm going to turn it up a little bit. All right, see, that didn't take long at all. This is nice and fluffy. Yeah, I'm sure you can see that. Maybe you can't see the consistency well. It's nice and fluffy. That's what you want to see. Okay, put my paddle back on there. Okay, now I need a teaspoon and a half of vanilla. I just kind of eyeball this. That's what my mom did, so good enough for me. Just kind of eyeball a teaspoon and a half. And then we need to beat in our eggs, one at a time. We have 4 large eggs here. It's very important when you're baking, don't crack your eggs right in the bowl, because you might end up with a rotten one, and that's going to ruin everything that's in your bowl, and you're going to have to throw it out. Crack your eggs one at a time into a separate bowl, and then pour them in your mixer one at a time. Okay? So, again, turn on your mixer slowly at first. Turn it up a little bit, and then I'm going to drop my eggs in one at a time. And there's my last egg. Super simple. Okay, in between eggs, you want to make sure that it's getting well incorporated into the batter. If you don't, the batter kind of separates and turns kind of yucky. So right now I'm just going to scrape down the sides of my bowl. Make sure I get all that butter and cream cheese down in the bowl. All right, mix him up. Wonderful. Okay, the next thing that goes in is our wonderful fruit mixture. And yes, that was a bird chirping at you. I have an Audubon clock. That was a Baltimore Oriole for 11 o'clock. It's fun. Okay, so the next thing that goes in is our fruit. This is our apricots and raisins that we cooked and cooled. It's nice and cool. It's at room temperature. You want to put all this in. Now there is a fair amount of liquid in here. There's quite a bit, if you can see down in the corner. I don't want to tip it too much. Don't drain the fruit. This is the liquid that your cake needs, okay? Some recipes call for you to drain the excess liquid off. This one does not, because this is the only liquid we're putting in here, okay? All right, again, slowly, we're going to turn on our mixer. Let that mix for just a minute. Okay, that's it. And then the next thing we add is our flour and baking soda. This is 2.5 cups all-purpose flour and no baking powder. Oops. And a teaspoon of baking powder. Okay, you gotta have that. That's what gives it the lift. Also, the recipe doesn't call for it, but I like to put in a little bit of salt. There's so much sweet in this cake that I think it needs a little bit of salt to balance that out. And I just put in a little smidge, just a little sprinkle, little smidge. Okay, so I'm going to add this in, about half of it. All right. Turn my mixer on. Again, turn it on low. You don't want flour to fly everywhere. Turn it up a little bit as it gets incorporated. Here's the other half of my flour. I can get him in there. There we go. Okay, turn that on slow, let it incorporate. Turn it up as it mixes. All right, so at this point, this is a very thick batter. All right, let's see if we can see that. Very thick, very sticky, full of raisins, apricots, wonderful stuff. Okay, so we only have 2 more ingredients to put in here and then we're ready to bake. Okay. All right, so in go my walnuts. That's a cup of chopped walnuts. And then in goes my candied fruit. Again, it does not matter if you want to use the fruitcake mix or the individual, candied cherries and pineapple. It's kind of up to you. It's very sticky, very sticky. Okay. Turn that on low. This is a very full bowl. Okay, very nice. That's it. Pretty easy, huh? Okay. So the next thing I need to do is get this paddle out of here. Like I said, it's very thick, so. And here I go, as in real life, fighting with my mixer. All right, very thick, full of all that candied fruit, nuts, looks great. Okay, so now we need to put this in the pan and bake it. The recipe, the original recipe says that you should spray your pan and then line it with parchment paper. You can sure do that. I've chosen not to. I find that if you spray your pan well, it comes out just fine and you don't need the parchment paper. So I have 2 regular large glass loaf pans. And I'm going to spray them with this lovely blue can of cooking spray. This is my choice. I can't show you the name, but if it's in a blue can, it's good stuff. Okay, spray these well. Okay, my spatula. Just going to scrape all these goodies off the paddle. There we go. And then divide this evenly between the 2 pans. Okay. I hope you can see me doing all this. I've never done this before. Recorded myself while I was cooking, so bear with me. I'm learning as we go. Okay. Make sure you get all that goodie out of your bowl. All right, now, this is a very thick batter again. So you want to make sure and push it down into the corners of your pan. Just push that down in the corners. Smooth the top out. Real easy. Do the same on the second. Okay, and if you're used to baking quick bread, you know that this pan would be way too full. However, this is a very dense item. It's not going to rise very much at all, so you can go ahead and fill these quite full. and they'll be fine. So I need to put a little bit more in that pan. Okay, here is your next baking tip, and I apologize because this one's going to be noisy. You want to make sure that you get that batter down in the corners and get all the air pockets out. On a normal quick bread, you could slice a knife through the batter and release the air bubbles. This one you can't. Oops, I dribbled. Okay, this one you can't. So I apologize. This is going to be a little bit noisy, but this is the best way to do it. Take your pan and tap it on the counter. That's going to get all of the bubbles out. So here we go. Is that loud? Sorry. Anyway, there we are, all nice and smoothed out. And I didn't get rid of all the air bubbles yet. I'll do that when I'm not recording. It's too loud. Okay, guys, the next thing to do here is just put these in a 325 degree oven, preheated 325 degree oven. They're going to bake for about 55 minutes. Get your handy dandy toothpick out when you get them out of the oven. Poke them right in the middle. If the toothpick comes out clean, they're done. If there's anything stuck on them, put them back in 5 minutes at a time until the toothpick comes out clean. Okay, so I'm going to put these in the oven right away. Middle rack. Then I have a fresh loaf coming right out, and this is what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that nice? Okay, so I'll show you, if I can find my toothpick, what I mean about the toothpick test. We're going to take our toothpick, put it right here in the middle, and pull it out. Came out clean. There's not a crumb on it. This is done. Okay, if it looks like there are crumbs on it, put it back. Going to be raw on the inside. All right. Now I've got some little ones here. You can certainly make these in the mini loaf pans. That's what I did on my first batch. This is a wonderful gift size because this is very sweet, very rich. A little bit goes a long way. But the same thing on these. You can see where I've tested them. You put your toothpick in. If it comes out clean, they're good to go. Now you'll want to cool these for 10 minutes in the pan before you remove them to a nice little wire rack, and let them cool completely before you slice them. After they're cool, wrap them up in plastic wrap, and you can freeze them for quite a while. But they never last that long at our house. They always go pretty quickly. Okay, guys, thank you for putting up with me on my first cooking adventure on tape here. The recipe will be posted in the comments. Have fun. Go cook. Merry Christmas. A little bit early. Bye-bye.